Welcome to a Trek Zone conversation. Darren Han is beaming in to chat about his upcoming fan film project. Darren, thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me on the show.
This is a Trek Zone conversation.
Well, don't forget Trek Zone membership available via the join button under each video on YouTube or via the trek.zone/support. Plus Trek Zones on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and your favourite podcast feed. Find us, like, follow, and subscribe. Darren, let's start with a little background on yourself, if you please. Who are you? Where are you from? And what drew you into filmmaking as a whole?
Okay, my name is Darren Han. I live in Mount Pearl, Newfoundland, Canada. And for the past 20 years, I've been involved with fan films and stage productions. I've created some fan films, Star Wars Inner Demons, Stargate Replication, a remake of Plan 9.5, which we called Plan 9.5 from Outer Space, almost as bad as the original. We had a lot of fun with that one. I made some of my own productions called Bunker 6. And our last foray into fan films was Star Trek Reliant, which we made 11 episodes of.
A very impressive list indeed. 11 episodes of Star Trek Reliant, and beyond Star Trek as well.
Yep.
Star Wars short, there's a Stargate short as well, and Plan 9.5 from Outer Space, as you said. Whereabouts can
Yep.
people find these? Are they online for people to watch?
They are online. Most of them are on YouTube, and if not, they're on Vimeo. I know Stargate Replication is on Vimeo, and the Star Wars movie is also on Vimeo. I think the rest are on YouTube.
Very, very cool. Well, you're here today because you've announced a new Star Trek fan film. Tell us about the story and where the idea came from.
Actually, I wanted to get back into making a Star Trek fan film, but I wanted to make something different. I wanted to go back and make something based on the original series, but I didn't want to use the main characters. I wanted to use uh, a background character or a guest actor. So what I did, I wrote a story. One story that I wrote was based on Nurse Christine Chapel, and her relationship with Roger Corby before he disappeared. Another story I wrote was Lieutenant Kevin O'Reilly. He's on holidays on Risa, and there's a attempt on his life made by the escaped Kodos the Executioner. Now those two stories were okay, but they weren't going the way I wanted. And then one afternoon I was watching Whom's Gods Destroy, the original series episode, and Captain Garf character was on it. Now his character, even on the show, had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I said, okay, now that's a great character to use. So I wrote a story from when he's a starship captain, right up until his delivery, I guess you call it, into the institution.
Very interesting character indeed. As you're aware, there's a bit of a, shall we say, animosity towards the character these days. Did that play into your mind at all when coming up with the story?
Not at all, because the way I look at the Captain Garf character, as with anything else out there, like you go back a few years ago, we had two different production companies making the original crew. Star Trek Continues, I believe they were called, and New Voyages.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
that's right, yeah. And so I didn't see anything different than what I'm doing than what they were doing, because I'm sure out there now there's other production companies somewhere in the world probably still making their version of Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and all the rest of the crew. So I don't see how this would really affect anything that anybody else is doing, because when I decided to do this, all I used, I looked at the Captain Garf character and I said, okay, what information can I find about him? I know there's a novel written about him, and I know that FASA, is that how it's pronounced? FASA?
Yeah,
FASA,
that's
that's the
right.
gaming
Yep.
company. They put out a role-playing game in the 80s or early 90s. And so there's that information, and then there's the information that's on the original series. So I said to myself, now, I want to make this character nice and fresh. So I'm not going to include anything besides what's on the episode. So what I did one afternoon, I sat down and I wrote out everything that was said on the episode about Captain Garth. And Axanar was mentioned, and the war was mentioned, and a few other things that happened to Garth and all that. So when I wrote the script, I made sure that I did not include anything about a war or the word Axanar, because I want this to be a sole standalone story of something in his life that nothing else has anything connection with, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's an interesting take on the character. I've seen some social media posts from yourself. We're not, as you say, we're not going into the war. We're not going into anything else. This is
No,
a character piece about Captain Garth. I do have to ask, are you concerned about any repercussions from that other production? As we know, Alec is quite litigious when he wants to be, using it as a bit of a badge of honor. Do you see any sort of problems? We've talked about Continues and New Voyages coexisting. Do you hope that this is sort of where you guys are going to sit as well?
actually, I put in my mind to have a arc with Alex. I'm sorry, arc. Here in Canada, we got a little something. It's called an ARC. It's Artist Respect Conversation. And so if I'm working on I don't know, a stage production or a story or a fan film, and I know you're doing a similar project with maybe some of the same characters, I'll contact, like, it's a respect. One artist will contact the other artist, say, listen, I'm doing this. This is the way my story is going. I'm just letting you know about it because I don't want you to be blindsided. And I just want you to know what we're doing and bring you up to date on it. So what I did, we got a mutual friend between myself and Alex, and I contacted him. I said, listen, I know you know Alec, because I've never met Alec myself. I never talked to him. I said, can you put me in contact with Alec Peters? Because I said, I want to let him know what we're planning and what we're doing, and I don't want him to be blindsided. So he started a little conversation with myself and Alec, and I told Alec what we were doing, what we were planning, and that it wasn't meant to take anything away from what they're doing, their Axanar story, their war story, their prospect look on Garth, but it was something that we're doing sort of completely different, but we are using the Garth character. And Alex wrote back to me. He said, it's a big multi-universe. Good luck with everything, man. And I wrote him back, thank you, I appreciate it.
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
So, yep, it is actually, because to me, I done that out of respect. Because, like I say, it's just when we do productions here or we do something in Newfoundland or Canada, we always, and it's something, like I said, it's something that somebody else is working on. You always like give them a little nod. You say, listen, this is what's going on. I don't want you to be blindsided. I'm not doing it to take your thunder away. I just want you to like know what I'm doing. So when it comes out, you won't be surprised by it. And I got to say,
Very
I really impressed. And it was a nice, respectful answer he came back with. He said, yeah, he said, it's a big universe, man. Good luck with it. And I said, bye. Good luck to you guys. And I appreciate it.
Very cool. Well, are there any plans to do a crowdfunder for your film, Darren?
No, sir. I do not. I've been, like I said, I've been involved with sorry. I've been involved with fan films and stage productions for like more than 20 years. And I don't crowdfund or get backers or get donations because I finance everything myself. And the reason I do that is because if you have a stage production and you got a backer and your show is a flop, I don't know about anybody else, but if I took your money and you backed me in a stage production and my stage production flopped, I'd feel like crap. And I've seen that happen a lot over the years with stage productions and with TV shows and that. So when I got into the business myself as a producer, I said, okay, even the fan films, even stage production, nothing. I don't do any back, like I don't ask crowdfund or ask for money or have backers. I finance everything myself. And that's not because I don't believe in it. I think it's a great way if someone needs some help to get some funding. Like I've backed a couple of people in their fan films, sent them money in that. And it's not that I don't believe in it. It's just that something personally I would not want to do because I'd feel like I've been letting a person down, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want that.
Absolutely. It's a position that we share, actually, Darren. Same sort of sentiment and feeling as well, that there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. Some people have great success with it and sort of operate that as,
Yep.
dare I say, a bit of a business model. But that's, I guess, where, as I said, you and I share that's something that we're not going to do. And it is a little bit of that feeling of making sure that everyone's happy with the direction that you've taken. A
Yep.
little bit like having a lot of producers on the credits list and having to appease everyone. I certainly know what that's
Yeah.
like working in the industry
Yeah.
as well. So an interesting take, certainly an interesting time ahead. Is there a timeline for Captain Garth, Darren, when we might be seeing some first images from it?
Uh, I'm sort of private when it comes to my productions, and a lot of people don't like that. Ever since I announced it, because the people that work on the show was like, Darren, when are we going to put this up? When are we going to put this up? It's like, okay, I'll go make one little post about it just to keep everybody happy. But I'm not one for saying I'm going to do stuff until it's actually done. But right now, in saying that, the release date is scheduled for June of next year, 2022. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since COVID come in, it's like, what year is this?
What's the year again?
Yeah. What's the year again? Yeah. So it's the release date we're looking at is June 2022, and it will be available on YouTube and all the platforms for free. And it's going to be, as stated in the guidelines, put down by Paramount CBS, that it is going to be two 15-minute episodes.
That is very cool. Looking forward to that June 2022. When you think about it, it sounds a little bit far away, but it actually really isn't. It is only 6, 7
No.
months away. Going to be very exciting, Darren. Would love to stay in touch as it progresses and as we hopefully get to see some more. Loving the idea behind this, loving the execution behind this. Cannot wait for Captain Garth in 2022. Darren, thanks very much for beaming into Trek
Yeah.
Zone today.
Thank you, sir.